welcome to Rap Drinks. This is episode 2. We have Don Martin here. He is a writer, director, filmmaker, extraordinaire, set technician, worldly man. And he's going to be giving us some insight into life on set. I feel like that was decent.
Cheers.
Thank you. I'm very honored.
Yes.
Cheers, brothers.
Mad love.
Cheers to the people not on the screen, AK-47 and Aldo.
As always, we got Aldo over there.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Salud.
Cool. Well,
What do you want to know, Mike?
First, we should probably talk about
Let's get started.
what Rap Drinks is, just to give people kind of a refresher what the show's about.
so this is just a show. This show, Rap Drinks, is a show that is going to give some insight in set stories, shit that happens on set, and how you get around it, basically. So the war stories of making movies. Here we go. You probably have infinite war stories. We've been hearing them all morning.
I'm out. Sorry. I'm done. Should have rolled when I came in.
But the first thing, just if you can just give me like a brief or a long, extended, how the fuck did you get into this industry?
Just lucky, I guess, Mike. Is it fate? Is it? If you've studied the Greeks, you know it is, baby.
I think that's the shortest answer he's ever given.
All right,
No.
next question.
Look, I got to tell my issue if you don't mind. Unlike this generation, we had to actually go somewhere to escape. These guys can look at their phone and escape. We had to go to the dark room, to the movie theater to escape, right? So to me, it takes on a whole other religious aspect. It's the church. That's why as I went along in life, I realized that, okay, everyone talks about God. For me, it's the cinema gods, The cinema gods have guided me. So when I find myself in weird situations that are like a charmed existence, I'm like, the cinema gods are looking out for me.
Hell yeah.
So how long have you been in the industry?
Since probably when I was in school, I got paid gigs, so that was like early 90s.
Early 90s?
Yeah.
What was your first paid gig? Were you like a production assistant, or did you go right into G&E?
I was stripping. I was 11.
Of course, set stripper.
You mean my paid gig in production? Thought you meant my first paid gig.
Industry, yeah.
Oh, let me think. The first paid gig.
Or what's the one that really was like, oh, I guess this is what
This is
I'm
what
going
I'm
to
going to
do.
be doing for the rest of my life.
Well, when I was in school, I got a chance to work on an AFI film. So I went to school in San Francisco, and then I had a chance to go to LA, which is where I'm from. And when I worked on this AFI film, they had all the toys there. I don't know if I got paid for that.
Probably not. You should probably contact someone about that.
I'm gonna invoice AFI. Again, it was the lore of whoa, it's AFI, Yeah. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna go there. That's where David Lynch made what was it? David Lynch's movie, Eraserhead. They made it there.
He made that at AFI? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the back barn, So there's all the lore to that, so that was cool, After that, in school, my great experience in school is that I got my first gig. I came to New York to work on a documentary, and I was like, man, I'm moving here. This is the place.
Yeah.
And this is when 42nd Street still looked like Taxi Driver, It still had all that. It was grimy.
Peep shows.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
That was amazing because I was getting paid. I made a deal with this rich dude.
In Times Square.
Yeah, no. For some reason, my friends in school had convinced him that Martin is the guy, So So by the time I met him, I was like, I'm Martin the guy. You know? So he's like, I've never made a film before, but I want to make a film. And I'm like, okay, this is my rate, you know? And he's like, okay. And I was like, really?
No negotiation.
I should have said more. You know? But then I was like living large in New York, in his pimp ass apartment, because he would go back to the house, you know? And I just like, I'm moving here someday soon. And I moved here like 10 years later.
Yeah. But you were working out in LA before that, like on several things, right?
Yeah, I was. For me, it was all about like, what am I going to do to make my film?
Yeah. Yeah, because your film that, yes, that's, I feel like how I met you is like you gave me a copy of your film.
Right.
Yeah.
So I moved back to LA, and of course, again, it's the lore. I'm like, I live in Venice Beach, and oh my God, Roger Corman has his stage like right across the street from where I'm living, like a block away. I have to work there. Fucking Francis worked there. Marty made a film for him. Everyone works for Roger, you know. It's the lore. So I fucking walk across the street and I'm like, hey man, I'm already a grip. I'm already established. I already know what I'm doing. I'm already getting paid, whatever. I want to work here. And this hippie receptionist dude is like, oh, no one gets paid here on their first gig, man. So, what do you mean? He said, you have to intern here. And I'm like, no, I'm not an intern. And he said, anyone who works here has to intern here. And while you intern here, you have to get your hustle on in order to get paid on the next shoot. By the time the shoot that you are interning on is over, you should have hustled yourself into the next shoot getting paid. And by getting paid, it's like, you know, you're getting $50 or whatever. The director there is making $100 a day, you know what I mean? So, so I did that. And like day one, I went to the key grip and I was like, rescue me. You know, I already know what I'm doing, dude. Like, rescue me, like, you know. And he says, oh, we already have an intern, you know, grip intern. And I look at this guy and he's over there like macking on the wake up and wardrobe. So I was like, you're done, buddy. You know, I paid attention to the boss and like I see him thinking Cardellini and I'm like, Cardellini. And so he's like, I see you. I see what you're doing over here. You know, and by
that voice in his head, just like Cardellini.
Yeah.
There it is.
Apple box.
Yeah.
Bam. I know, motherfucker. I know. See? So, boom, that guy was gone, and then I was that guy, and then one thing led to another. But while being there, it was the whole idea of like, how can I steal shit from here, from my film, to work on my film? So all of the stagehands there were Mexican. So they were like, ¿Dónde tú quieres, Martín? ¿Qué quieres? And I'm like, man, necesito ese tala de negro, 12. They're like, bring the truck in. So I was taking what I needed, which wasn't a lot. But
that's how he became Don Martin.
That's how he became Don Martin.
And so you're basically like poaching gear from that set to create your own movie.
That film won Best American Film at the LA Film Festival. You know, like that was an amazing, unbelievable. Again, the cinema gods. Only the cinema gods can make that happen because, excuse me. You know, like we were up against Sofia Coppola and all these like filmmakers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, maybe we'll get Best Drama because that shit was so dramatic. Yeah. You know, I'm like, there could be no more dramatic shit than we made. And then, you know, like we're at the awards ceremony and Best Drama goes by and I'm, you know, someone else won. To me, I didn't care because we already had a party planned afterwards. I thought, man, we made it to this festival. You know what I mean? We are already winning. And then they announced all these awards, animation, documentary, comedy, whatever. And the very last one was Best American Film. And when we got it, I was like, whoa, that's how surreal, you know? It was a great moment.
Yeah.
And then I was able to sell that to PBS, and then it's on PBS. And a great moment that came out of that was when they showed it on PBS, I tuned in and I realized, oh shit, they're showing Mi Familia as the main film, and they're showing my film as the short before Mi Familia. So I was like, fuck yeah, Gregory Nava, you know, I'm like, fuck, wow, this is awesome. And then like it fades in, and it's fucking Francis and Gregory Nava, and they're in the vineyard, the Coppola vineyard, and they're talking. You know, like Francis was one of the producers of Mi Familia, right? So they're talking about, well, Hispanic Heritage Month and yada yada yada, and then they're talking about Mi Familia, and then they introduce my film. So I was like, you know, like clean up. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Damn.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's a hustle, though. Does Roger know that you took gear from him, or is that just that was standard?
Man, I wonder if Roger's alive.
Was that par for the course for anyone who worked
That is
there?
par, man. That is so par. And it was amazing because, of course, just like now, you're surrounded by people that are creative that want to make things. Mm-hmm. You know, so like there's work, and then there's not work. You know, there's your own work or whatever. Yeah. So everyone who was cool wanted to make stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of help.
That's great.
So I would say, like, you know, looking at some of the starting off and seeing your film on PBS, what were some of the other amazing films that you worked on that are part of your resume today?
Wow. When I worked on, I got to work on the Spielberg movie, The Post. That was pretty amazing. I was there. I wasn't there the whole time, but I was there till the end. And I thought that was the mountaintop. I'm like, fuck. I remember when Elmer's glued the cover of Time magazine with Jaws on my bedroom window, on my bedroom door. You know, and now I'm kicking it next to Steven, who's really like idiosyncratic once you know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So then I thought that was a mountaintop, and then I got the job on The Irishman. I was there for a while, and that was amazing. Yeah. But Wonderstruck, you know, look, my thing is that like a lot of people are starstruck by actors. I'm starstruck by cinematographers. Because, you know, I feel like that, you know, I know what they do. So when I have a chance to work with a great cinematographer, it's like, to me, I'm just trying to just absorb everything that I can, you know? And it's amazing because, for a perfect example of that, right before I got on The Post, the Spielberg movie, I just remember being like on cable. There was like in rotation. It was on, and I just kept watching them in rotation, a little bit. It was Catch Me If You Can, Lincoln, and Amistad. Or so, no, anyway, but it's all Janusz. Mm-hmm. So I was watching all three of them, and I was like, fuck, man, it's a lot of light, man. You know, it's a lot of smoke. And a fucking ton of light, you know. And I'd watch a piece, change it, boom, oh, Lincoln's on again. Let me watch a little piece of Lincoln, you know what I mean? And I was doing that, and then boom, now it's like, whoa, now I'm on The Post, like the next day. Wow. And we're doing it. So I'm like, I'm looking this way at the monitor, and I'm seeing what we're shooting, which is that shit, Janusz's shit, and then I'm going like this and looking on the other side of the wall, and I'm seeing like 20K, 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 20K. You know, light grid, you know what I mean? Just banging that light through. And I'm like, that's it. You know, that's the magic.
Yeah, I mean, when you're at that level, you can pretty much do whatever you want to do. If you can't make something give you an emotional response out of like a location with light, then you're not doing it right if you have that much money.
It's that cinema god shit. It's not like, this is just, I'm so lucky to be able to be doing this kind of work and not be slaving somewhere else and be able to make a living and support my family. And, you know, I'm lucky. My friend told me I was the grip unicorn the other day. Martin, you're the grip unicorn, dude. Like, you can go over there and do that, and then you can go over there and do that, you know? But I think it's just being resourceful.
Mike, you've worked with Martine before. What's the one thing that you kind of remember about Martine?
Martine has zero fear of going up and talking to anyone on set. It does not, even if it's his first day. It's like first day, goes right up to the EP and starts having a conversation. No problem at all. They're like, who is this person?
Yeah, because you have to break the fourth wall.
You also have no problem of making everyone feel completely uncomfortable just to bring it all the attention to you. I've noticed
Thanks,
that.
Mike.
You're really great at this.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You've gotten me.
Some people
You've had
need to
me
be
like
put-
on the edge where I'm like,
People need to be put in their place, Mike. And no one's going to do it.
okay, so just
that guy.
we'll just back this up. There's a story.
Set
so-
has that guy that is like, don't fuck with that guy.
I'm going to
That's,
tell
you know what I mean? Can I be that guy? It's good to be that guy.
If this doesn't explain enough to you about Martine, there was one time me and Martine were hired to go up to Vermont together with a van full of gear. This is just something that
I know where you're
happens
going with this.
occasionally. Yep. So as we're driving upstate, Martine's like, we need to get something to eat. I'm hungry. We need to stop. And so we stopped somewhere near Troy, Albany.
This was a romantic, very romantic drive.
It was me, Martine together for 6 hours driving north in a cargo van.
And getting to know each other more.
Yep. So we pull
Playing
over.
music.
We pull over. We go into this diner. Immediately walk into the diner. For some reason, Martine's just like, we are a gay couple right now, and starts like going off.
Well, when we started to order,
I was not aware of this, but he just went with it. And
order.
Yeah.
The lady came over and she just like kind of like looked at us like we were like this couple. So I went with it. I'm like, let me tell you what he's gonna have because he's picky, and we'll be here all day. And you know what? We're on our way to Vermont, and I don't want to stay here all day with him trying to. So I just went with it. So she went with me. She's like, oh, okay. Well, let me tell you the special, and it just went like that.
Snowballed from there. Turns out
With the thing.
that
we
there
woke
was-
up in bed together the next morning.
Well, it turns out that there was a movie that had been shot up in that area at that diner, Beyond the Pines, right?
Oh yeah, Place Beyond the Pines.
Place Beyond the Pines was shot at that diner, so they were very well aware of like the movie industry.
Movie people.
Yeah.
Like we're carnies. Which we
I remember you had us taking pictures with the waitresses and everything like that.
There's a piece of us. We were delectable together. Look at us. Who can deny? I mean, like, if we both turned it on, get out of here.
Caramel
Right?
delight.
That's what happened. We were fun.
Yeah. So meanwhile, this is the beginning of the job, and we're going up to Vermont. A lot of other shit happens when we get on this job. It's some bullshit corporate pharmacy job. First day of shooting, we have this DP roll in. He's got a lot of ideas. And I have Martine, me, and our other friend BK. He's asking for things.
What were you guys doing on the job? Like, what were your roles?
I was the gaffer. Martine's the
Nobody knew what I was
key
doing.
grip probably, and then BK was probably our like driver grip or something like that.
Martine was the producer they didn't know they had.
It's very true.
Part of what I try to do on every job is keep it ambiguous as to what I do.
Yeah. Yes, I noticed that.
The PA looks at me like, is this guy the director? You know what I mean? And I just keep it
Someone
moving.
comes out and
Yeah, I just
orders
keep it moving
coffee,
past
yeah.
him.
Yeah, someone comes out on the other side. No, he's the producer. Like
It's happened.
nobody knows.
So we're shooting at this bakery. We're lighting it, and you guys are trying to like hang something above the stove or something, and it's just like we don't have any of the right parts. None of us were involved in the gear checkout or anything like that. So this van shows up with a bunch of parts, nothing works. And then they're trying to put it together, and the DP goes, "What's wrong with these two? Are they green?" Starts pointing to like Martine and BK, and I'm like, "No, we just don't have the right stuff here." He's like, "Well, don't you think it's really them, right? Between you and me?" And like,
What it came down to is this guy said something, and then I turned into my dad. That's what happened.
I want to know what that means.
He just said something, and I did one of these to him.
Yes, I remember the moment you looked back at me, and I was like,
And then I kind of stepped down, And then I just enveloped him in myself, you know, and he was like, kind of mortified him, you know, and he was like, I forget what I said to him. I told him something, you know, I basically threatened him.
That's when he
trying to dance around it.
That's when Martine turns on the Don. He just like turns on the Don.
Yeah, it was definitely Don
turns on the
Martine right
Don.
there.
It's like Zoolander. He turns around the camera.
No, I'm going to break it down to you. I don't like bullies
Yeah.
in any form. And you know what I find? Like when Mike said that I make people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's the relationship. You guys been together for a long time.
It's not true. There are people that I will target to make uncomfortable because I see that they're that person that fucks with people. So when I want them to encounter somebody that checkmates them, like, are you gonna fuck with me? And they're like,
A bully.
No.
Yeah. It's a bully who bullies bullies.
I'm not
Like,
a bully though.
No.
Come on.
You just check people, which
I
is
like to.
I mean, and then like being embraced by someone else is like that's terrifying because you can't tell. But Martine is like what 6 foot.
6'11".
He's a tall. I mean, I'm short as hell.
That's for
And
a
when Martine
for
says
a
hi to me, like
Mexican, that's
hugging
big.
him is like
Yeah, that's
hugging a
huge.
For a
statue.
Mexican,
Like,
that's big. This is forced perspective. I don't look that big. Mike's on the big side. Mike is like fucking 3'3". On here, we look like we're like, see?
So
it's movie magic right there.
what I want to know is going into, you know, you're talking about you get on set and you have no problem talking to anyone. What are the advantages has that had for you on set working on some of these productions you've worked on?
Well, I don't think I told you any of this. I don't think I've seen you because I haven't seen you guys so long, but I keyed this Paul McCartney video. And Linus Sandgren was the cinematographer. You know Linus Sandgren?
No.
He had just won the Academy Award for La La Land.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, he shot, he's Damien Chazelle's guy, right? He shot what is the space movie with Ryan Reynolds? You know what I'm talking about.
We'll figure it out.
Space movie with Ryan Reynolds.
No. Anyway,
it on
sorry.
the bottom.
Senior moment. Fucking another senior moment. You guys listen, email them with all the things I can't remember.
It's actually,
Life.
No, last man, first man. Thank you. First man.
there it is. Yeah.
See, it's still in there, man. You still got it, baby.
Just got to shake it up.
Okay, but anyway, so like it's Linus Sandgren, and he's a PIMP, right? So we're shooting 65 millimeter film. So I remember I couldn't be there for the rigging day. I could be there for the shooting day. So I had these dudes rigging. But on my lunch break, because I was working on something else, I bailed over there to go check out things. And then I get there, I see the camera is tarped. It's on the dolly, but it's tarped, right? So I go over there and I unclip it, and it's like the big Mickey Mouse ear Panavision 65 millimeter camera, and I'm like, oh. and then I look, and it's Linus is walking up, the producers, and like everyone, you know, all of the A people are walking up, and I said, I feel like I got caught looking under the dress right now. And that's how we met.
What were the response to that when you said that?
Everything's gravy, baby. I said it looks beautiful. You look beautiful. Mwah, mwah. Sorry I can't be here today, but I'm here today, and I'll see you tomorrow. So there we are with Paul McCartney, right? And of course, like Mike said, you know, once again, it's like the producers, the director, makeup and hair. Everybody's like, why is Martine talking to Paul McCartney right now? But what happened is that the moment he walked in and he stood on his mark, he was off. And I said, Pablo, I called him Pablo. You have to be here so that we can get that beautiful thing happening on the back and on the front. He's like, oh yeah, Pablo, yeah, that's me, Pablo, yeah, okay, I got it, babe. So we had this thing going, you know? But it was incredible. Yeah. Because I asked him, Pablo, who directed the Say 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 video? with Michael Jackson. Oh, that's Bob Giraldi. Bob Giraldi did that. And I was like, Bob Giraldi, he did Beat It, and he did Billie Jean. Yeah, yeah. So we were chatting, and again, everyone's like, why is Martin talking?
That's so crazy.
He did this little dance move, right? Emma Stone was in the video, but Paul did this little dance move, and when they called cut, I said, Pablo, I haven't seen that kick since Your Mother Should Know. And he goes, oh, good one. Nice one. Nice one, huh? All right. Yeah, good one. Nobody knew what the fuck we were talking about. Yeah. Linus Singer was like, what does he mean? He said, Mother Should Know, what is this? What are they talking about? The director's like, what are they talking about? But again, because of the cinema gods, you know, part of my whole cinema paradiso experience is that when I was a kid, my older sister was a Beatle fucking fanatic and a rock and roll fanatic, and she wanted to see all the rock and roll films. All the rock and roll films were midnight movies. So I'm like 9 years old, 10 years old, and they're telling my sister, you can't go see that movie. Take Martine. So it's like the middle of the week. It's like Wednesday. I'm at the midnight fucking movies, seeing Help, A Hard Day's Night, Magical Mystery Tour, Let It Be, and all of the rock and roll movies. I mean, all of the rock and roll movies. The first time I ever smelled weed, clear as day, the Led Zeppelin movie. I'm like, massive plumes of smoke. I'm looking at my sister like, what is that? And she's like, I can't believe I'm here with my little brother. Wow. So anyway, so he knew, because in the end of Magical Mystery Tour, let's all get up and dance to a song that was a hit before your mother was born. And they do this little sachet, this little kick. And so he knew what I was talking about, and I knew what he was talking about, but everyone else was like, why is Martine talking about McCartney right now?
So do you feel like, I mean, sounds amazing. Do you feel like you owe a lot to your sister for getting you into cinema? For taking you to those 9 o'clock and midnight showings?
Of course. All of my siblings have, just like the music influence, they have all been different parts. Like my other sister, all this independent film stuff like Wim Wenders and Cassavetes, and she introduced me to all of that. You know, my brother, strictly 70s cinema, Sam Peckinpah, Charles Bronson movies, you know. The macho stuff.
Yeah, that was the macho cinema. We were talking about that. We were going through like my Plex server, and you were like everything in the 70s.
70s cinema.
Look how many things were coming out in that
70s
decade.
cinema was the golden era of American cinema.
Yeah.
You know, because thank God for Easy Rider.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was so different about that era compared to like 80s and 90s cinema?
Because everything is an ebb and flow and reaction, right? So in the 70s, the filmmakers had control. The auteurs, Dennis Hopper broke through. He's like, all you suits have to pay attention to what we are telling you, because what you're doing is not working. They're making, like, I remember, so that year that Easy Rider came out, Easy Rider cost a couple $1 million, and it made over, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars. But all of the big studios, they each had like multi 20-something million dollar budgets, and all of those films tanked. All of those films. So they realized times are changing. We need to go with the times, right? So when all the auteurs, filmmakers controlled more of their creativity in the 70s, what did we have in the 80s? We had Reagan. The backlash was top. Now we're going to have a Top Gun era. You know, now we're going to talk about Gordon Gekko, right? But then look at the reaction to that is the 90s. The American emergence is like Jim Jarmusch and Spike Lee. You know, it's ebb and flow.
Yeah.
What are we in now?
Yeah.
We're streaming now.
This is streaming now.
Brought to you by Netflix, guys.
I feel like we need to get into a war story.
I feel like I need to get this back on topic and ask you what's a shitty rig that you've done? What's one that kind of stands out to you of something that you've had to do in all your days where you're like, I can't believe I'm doing this?
Okay, well, when I made my film, we really didn't have any money, but I had everything else. I had people, right? And when I chose my cinematographer, he had never shot a frame of film in his life. He'd never shot photography. He had never shot cinematography. But when I met him, he's from Belfast. He's an Irish guy. He says, I have me papers. And I said, okay, immigration? He's like, no, I'm certified Ori from Berlin. And I was like, what? I said, come with me. And we had an REBL.
So right. Certified to just what, like rent an RE or?
No, he was a technician.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
So we had, I said, I'm going to fucking handcuff myself to this motherfucker. So you're not going anywhere. So he was my cinematographer because I wrote it and I was directing it and I was acting in it and I already knew how to light it, whatever. I just need someone there to point the kid who's proficient enough to like be that guy to be there and supervise what we're doing. But one night, in classic Corman tradition, we were shooting a night exterior and we had 2 car headlights pointed at, this is where they beat the shit out of me in my film. The 2 car headlights were there. But because the previous night we got all fucked up and everybody fought and it was a disaster, it seemed like it was not going to happen, nobody charged the battery for the camera. So we had no battery belt, we had no camera. I have these guys here that are my friends, actors, that are ready to beat the shit out of me for real now. The whole crew, and I was just like, oh, this is not going to happen. But he's like, hold on, mate, hold on. Don't send everyone away yet. So this motherfucker got the camera and wired it to the car battery and got it running crystal sync. Yeah. And we shot that scene.
Off a car battery.
Yeah. And it was amazing.
Wow.
That's why you have a technician, that's why you have that brain. Mm-hmm. That brain, that day, that was like, the cinema gods.
Cinema gods.
Wow.
It saved your whole production that day.
Well, you know what's dope about that shot also is it just so happened that deep in the background, there were these massive work lights.
Oh, nice.
So, it looked lit, it looked like depth, it had like, it looked great.
I had a similar situation when I was doing a movie in Brooklyn. We had 0 light for a night exterior, and it's going to sound fucked up, but there was like a homicide that happened on the block. So NYPD brought out like those trucks with the giant spotlights, lit up the whole block. So we're like, I think this is the moment that we go and shoot the walking scene. So we go and start filming next to the truck. I expose, tungsten so it all looks blue and shit. And I'm like, wow, we just lucked out here. We got like 1Ks up and down the block with the NYPD and a locked off block. So
started the independent movement. It's like, if you need night exterior light, you have to have a violent felony.
Yeah. So you should get on. I think if you're a filmmaker, you should just get on the Citizen app, try to track down where some shit's going down, and then go make your movie there.
Violent felony. Get them there with,
That's the way to do it on a budget, man. That's the way to do it on a budget. So I'm curious now. Have you worked on any professional set? Nope. I couldn't even get it out of my mouth. Like, no professional sets where you felt like you had to do a shitty rig moment.
There's a saying in the union: if you can't tie a knot, tie it a lot.
That's true.
So
that's a good way to answer it.
I don't know, man. There's multitudes. I mean,
Do you ever think there's, I guess, like what I would think that you're trying to say is like, does budget increase the likelihood or decrease the likelihood? Is there ever a place where you're like, I have everything that I need and there's nothing more that I'd ever need and I'm good?
Great cinematographers you know, like depending on whatever they're doing, know what they need. You know, like sometimes all you need to do is be outside, and you know, and a little bit of this, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
Negative.
But you're never in complete control. I think that's like the main thing, because like as we said before, you have Teamsters driving trucks in, you have this happening there, this is happening there. So some things always get lost in the shuffle, and I think it's the way people adapt to situations that kind of to overcome them.
Look, I like to let the boss be the boss.
Yeah.
You know, and support the boss like 1,000%. Be that guy, you know, because we're at work.
Yeah.
You know, and like I'm sure you guys, my dad was, you know, see, I referenced him twice already. My dad was all about work ethic, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think the reason why I've been successful is that at the end of the day, whatever your attitude or whatever someone's opinion of you, they can't say that you didn't like work your ass off completely. They can't say that you didn't get grimy and as dirty as the dirtiest is dirty with them, you know. And in that way, now I'm older, so I'm like work with a lot of younger guys. I'm like, do it like me. You know, don't be back there on your phone. We're crawling through this muddy ass hole right now. Let's crawl through this muddy ass hole, you know, not be so precious about it.
I have a question. Since you've been on set since like film days, and you saw the transition to this digital world, I mean, people still shoot film, but what differences do you see as a set? There's no differences at all.
No, you know, it's the discipline is lost.
Yeah.
But you know, again, it's like people go to see a movie or they go to see something, and then I hear them talk about it. And it seems like most of the time in life, people are so dictated by their expectations, right? So like they have this expectation of this and its expectations, and when they don't meet those expectations, it's like, oh well, that's failure. That's that's I'm not whatever. So like I try to go to work and I have different expectations for what the job is. If I'm going to do a job that's a network TV job, I know what it is. Bang, bang, bang. If I'm going to go do a feature that is whatever, I get the pace, I get it, I understand. You know, I see the filmmaker, I'm like, oh, it's that guy, and I see the DP, and I'm like, oh, it's that guy. And it's like, try to get into that rhythm, because this is what it's gonna be like for how many days, you know? Or it's a big movie, whatever it is. You know, try to be in that rhythm with them that are making the film. The boss will find you indispensable.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting. You approach it that way, and that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, how like you're not afraid, so to speak, to like break down those walls and interact with someone like Paul McCartney, because I feel like the overall vibe on sets right now is that like there are these roles that everyone kind of has. There's this hierarchy, right, which has always existed, but that hierarchy also works as like these divisions, right? It's like the grip doesn't talk to the talent. You know, the first AC doesn't talk to the director. You got to go up the chain. But in reality, if like you're making a film, right, it's a collective job. It's a collective art form where like everybody has to either put in some sort of, I don't know, contribution with their talent, or even voice out what they might think is a good idea for that moment. But I feel like that doesn't really happen anymore. You're kind of like shot down. It's like you might be the PA with an idea that might actually work, but they're like, stand back there, like we're not listening to you right now. Right. But you're all about like getting in that rhythm, which I think is a fucking awesome approach, because you have that deep love for what you do, and I don't know that everyone feels that way when they're on set. They're just like, this is a job.
Well, a lot of people are jaded by that, and it is a job. But it is a job. It is a job. You know, so it's like you can't get lost in the glitter either.
Yeah, true.
100% is a job, but there are worse jobs.
Well, look, I mean, I feel like you have to communicate. It's on any job, right? In any job that you do, you have to communicate with each other. And yeah, I'm not afraid to talk to anybody. I think that people are people.
Yeah. Are you working on anything yourself personally outside of work these days?
Yeah, I'm working on a short that I want to shoot in July. That's about a little kid in ICE detention, and basically, what happens is that he's in detention and he's sad and whatnot, and he's broken out by El Super Latino. El Super Latino comes swooping in and rescues the kid, and it's gonna be cool, you know. It's a short.
You know, it's like a superhero that.
Yeah, El Super Latino is a mashup of like an Aztec warrior, a luchador, like a wrestler, and like a Mexican revolutionary with like bandoliers, you know.
That's amazing.
We're designing him.
Nice.
And I'm gonna use, again, in my other film, you know, I was functioning at a level where I had Roger at my disposal and I could do little things. And now I'm working on a different level, you know, and so my ask is much bigger from everybody, but I'm still asking.
You always have to be.
Well, you know what?
That's actually something. I feel like there's kind of two different people who work in this industry. There's people who go to set, do the job, go home, and then there's people who like kind of can't go home mentally and are just always in it, and they're seeing the potential to make something else, or like you're meeting someone that you're like, that person, I need to do something with that person off to the side, like. Mm-hmm. And then there's people who just treat this as like, let me punch the clock and like go.
Well,
it's a cool thing to do.
I had a lost decade when I worked at NBC.
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of like when I met you.
I worked at NBC for 10 years, and that was on the Today Show. And that was in Rockefeller Center, and that was in a cubicle, and that was an overnight shift. Mm-hmm. And that was 10 years.
That's rough.
But every morning when I would leave, I would see the movie trucks. And I would like, motherfucker, I need to get back there. Yeah. Because I had already had the experience that I had had. So that lost decade, that vortex, that black hole decade of my life, it's like, minus that, and raising the kids, you know, that has been my focus. But I had to explain to my kids that it's about me now.
I really think that's a valid point. Like, it's about you.
I mean, I'm like, it's about me now. And if you want to go, if we want to take this family where we should take it, then, you know, like, wash your plate.
Put it in the dishwasher.
You know, take care of your business so that I can take care of mine.
So, I mean, that's great. What advice would you offer to young filmmakers coming into this business that are not only trying to create amazing films, but also work on some of these productions? What advice would you give them as young filmmakers?
Watch films. Watch the films and know the films. Study the films. A lot of times, I find myself having a conversation with someone, a cinematographer, or someone that I completely like next level, you know, master of light. Yeah. But we're having this conversation about this obscure cinema, and they're looking at me and they're saying, "Oh, you know a lot about this," and I'm like, "Maestro, I love it. Like we love it. It's, you know, you have to love it, you know." But I feel lucky though too, because I think there was a time when I was, for example, I had a conversation with my mother, and she said, "We were so worried about you when you were couch surfing during that era." And I said, when I was couch surfing during that era, I was writing all night, and I was watching about 5 or 6 films a day.
But that's research. That's research. That counts as to who you are.
So in that time, I feel like that was one of the most productive times of my life. People don't get that luxury.
No.
Yeah.
You know, so, but you have to do that. You have to absorb that, you know. What advice would I give? I would say, you know, have initiative and intuition. It's those two things. I have kids, so I'm like, look, you know, like the power of observation will get you through the day, you know, like be aware of what's going on, like.
Yeah.
That's it.
Are any of your kids interested in the film industry?
My older child is very much into is an artist. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my younger one is very athletic. They're extreme, different, polar opposite. But I was going to tell you something. What was I going to tell you?
I have no idea.
There's so much to tell you.
I never know what's going to come out of your mouth, man. It's going to be amazing.
100% true.
We're on time right now, Alan. How long have we been going?
We've been going for 55 minutes.
Okay, but there was like a 10-minute break in there. So.
I actually do have a question for you.
Yeah.
The man in front.
Alan.
So, I mean, I love the whole mentality of, you know, super collaboration, breaking down walls, talking to anybody. Has that ever backfired for you?
Oh, that's a good one.
I think like a comic, you have to read the room. You know, you have to read the room. You can't. I mean, as much as Michael have you seem that I'm just some outlandish character that comes roughshod through the set, I feel like I pick my battles.
Yeah.
You know, you have to pick your battles. But But I'll tell you a great story though.
Go for it. That's what we're here
That's
for.
what we're here for.
I can't even remember if I was an electrician or a grip, but it was this feature in Southern California, probably like 91 or something. And I was really doing this guy a favor. You know, he didn't know shit. He was a tour guide at the Universal Studios or whatever, but he sort of played it like he was a boss, and he's like, Martin, can you do this? And I made a deal, right? I get there. It's a terrible day. The storm, insane. They say they're going to call it a weather day. They call it a weather day. We're like, yes, a weather day, insurance day, we're getting paid. Then they uncall it because the rain stops, right? Oof. So when we get out there, now we're wet and miserable. One thing leads to another. They're like, we're going to have a company move. Now we're going to this firing range. It's Talia Shire, you know. Adrian! Talia Shire. Weekend at Bernie's. Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's. And Elias Koteas, who's like an incredible actor that I respect. But anyway, it's them, and we're at this firing range, and there's an overhead, and because it's been raining, the water's dripping, and they're like, we need this water to stop dripping so that we can shoot this. And I said, let me get up there, and let me sweep all this water off, and let me lay some. No, that's gonna take too much time. That's gonna take too much time. Just staple some plastic here. Fuck you people. I stapled the plastic, I left. So one thing leads to another. Of course, the water is built up. During the shot, all over Adrian and Bernie. Now they're cussing us out, the producer and the fucking DP, and they're pissed and they're yelling. And I go into Martine mode. I run up there and I'm like, fuck you, motherfuckers. I told you this is what we should have done. This is what you wanted. Fuck off. I finally tell my friend, we're out of here. We're leaving. It's nighttime in the desert in California. We're leaving. I walk by the generator and I go, the whole thing goes, base camp, catering, wardrobe, set, boom. I felt the power. That's the only time in my life that I did that. But, you know, as we were driving away, I said, fuck you, as we were driving away. The producers were running next to the car. Okay, no, okay, come back. And I would tell my friend, Johnson, vroom, we took off. Fuck those motherfuckers. That was one of the most, I felt like, you know, I had the power of the gods in that one.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys, bye, bong. You know, only once in your life will you have the opportunity to do that if you're lucky.
Hopefully with no repercussions.
I felt the pain. Well, funny enough,
Here we go.
a few months later, because that DP was also the producer on that show, and he was whatever. A few months later, I get a call, oh, we need someone to come over here in Santa Monica. So I bounced to Santa Monica in a bar. And I don't know if you know this actor, Danny Nucci. He was in Titanic, whatever. I get there, and they're like, oh, we need to do this. And they're at the bar. So I jump up on the bar. I'm standing on the bar, and Danny Nucci's right there, and the actor's right there. And they're like, but I'm fixing the lights, right? And in walks this guy, the producer, Bernard Saltzman. He walks in, and he looks at me standing on the bar, and I'm shining the light. I go, hey, Bernard, how are you? And he's like, I'm sorry.
Oh, wow.
He goes, I am only the DP on this picture. I am only the DP now. I am sorry.
Wow.
And I said, it's all good, Bernard. Let's go.
Let's forget about all that.
I mean, as G&E, we kind of, if you're working in that department, you're kind of like pushed to the side, but you kind of do control an incredible amount of power on that.
Yeah, they're not going to get up there.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it is, right? Like, no one else is going to do this job.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No one else is standing on that
I
bar.
only have like a background as like a camera operator and as a director, and I remember there was an instance we were shooting something, Mike and I, and there was like an electrical issue, and everybody like walked over to the breaker to like figure out what's going on. And then I got to the breaker, I was like, I actually don't know what the fuck to do here. And we all just looked at Mike, and Mike was just like, get out of the way, and just like solved whatever it was that needed to happen. Because the reality was like, I'm not experienced enough to deal with this shit. Like, nor do I want to try right now. Yeah. Like, I'm not getting my hands in there.
Me neither.
I wouldn't recommend it for sure.
No, now that I'm older, I'm like, I'm not touching that. You know, they're like, can you do this? I'm like, yeah. Okay, can you do it? No. The years I have left are this. That guy, he's got like this many years left. Let him gamble.
Yep.
Yeah. So where do you see the film industry in 5-10 years from now? Where do you see us going?
All Mexicans.
Hell yeah.
We knew that we were just going to do like the Sicilian technique and just pump so much semen into the population that it was just going to shift the whole game, homie.
Listen, they'll get it done, man. They'll get it done. They'll make it happen.
No, I don't know. I really don't know. But I know that, of course, film will never go away. It's just a boutique item now, you know.
So let me rephrase the question. Let me rephrase the question and ask you: where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years in the career in your industry?
3 Academy Awards.
I mean, it's honestly possible.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll just walk up to the board.
Exactly.
Hey guys.
Listen.
Hi.
Diversity, right?
I really think he's gonna do a Kanye West and Taylor Swift and just get on the stage and.
That's not Martine. Martine is like totally not that.
But I do have a friend who works for the Academy, who's the head archivist at the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
Oh, wow.
So because our film did what it did, they want to archive our print. Whoa. So that's that's pretty fucking big.
That's awesome.
Pretty big.
Congrats, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man in front.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Anyone?
I mean, I feel like we're kind of like towards the end of this.
skinny-
so.
I think we pretty
woman?
much ran out of alcohol.
Skinny woman in back?
And coffee.
Oh no, there's more. There's plenty of alcohol.
Well, I mean,
I hope I gave it to you. I hope I delivered.
you did give it to us. You did. What would you suggest? I know we've said like what people, filmmakers, and you're someone who talks to everyone. What do you think people should do? Should they just like go to film school, get into this world, and start working their way up, or is there like a better path, essentially?
You're asking me?
Yeah, as someone who's made his own path several times.
You're asking me? I haven't even been born yet. I'm still waiting for my moment.
That's true. True.
You don't want to be like me. No, I would say just not be too precious about things and just shoot it. Just go out and do it. You have to do it. No one's going to do it for you. Yeah. And to work in the industry, like I said, as long as you know what you're working on, then you'll be able to handle any situation. You know, it's about that expectation thing. You know, like complacency is the devil. You know, I have 2 kids that are teenagers, and I'm like, listen, your grandfather taught me this. I'm telling you this, that don't be that guy that is the one that is bitching, because nobody likes that guy. Yeah. Be that guy that is thoughtful and that is observant, that can anticipate things. You know, like that's what it is. It's not about I guess it's not about just being like a mouse in the church, you know, like you have to talk a little shit, you know, you have to establish yourself in some respect. And I think a lot of times people quell their personalities. What Mike is talking about with how I rock. You know, is that like everyone has a different personality, and we're supposed to, I feel like many times my function on set through many years is to sort of like break that tension.
Yeah.
Yes, you are the ultimate icebreaker.
I mean, that's great to say about it.
Break that absurd tension where everything is precious and everyone is walking around, tiptoeing around, because at the end of the day, we're all playing make believe. We're playing dress up. You know, like let's not. There's people that are out there doing real jobs, dying doing real jobs, making dirt.
And then we're making movies about their jobs.
Yeah, and we're we're in a very cozy place. You know, having coffee and donuts or whatever.
You know, on that note, I would like to, on behalf of John, Mike, myself, and the rest of the Shitty Rigs team, I want to thank Don Martin for coming on set.
I just need to have a side note here before we wrap it.
Oh, keep it going, man. I'm down for that.
Farino was really instrumental in me leaving that decade, that black hole time from NBC, because I was like, now I have to sort of like meet this whole independent world and start doing independent work. And if I do that for a while, then I could start keying that and and start again, because all my contacts were in California, right? So when I met Mike, Mike got me going. Harchie Holler.
Was Harchie Holler? Okay. So yeah. Okay. So wait, this is the reason that I have all these stories about, because I remember this now. This is a weird series made by John Lee and Vernon Chatham, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it was like a redneck soap opera.
They are rednecks that are possessed by the devil.
Like, if you know who's in this show, it's incredible. It's
Amy
like
Sedaris,
and Patton Oswalt, David Cross, like
Joe Sikora.
Yeah, it's an incredible cast.
Joe Sikora?
Yes.
Do you know
he was the cop,
Joe
right?
Sikora?
I don't know Joe Sikora. Who's
You know Power, the show Power?
Yeah.
The white guy, Tommy? That he has his own show now? That's Joe Sikora. He's Tommy in Power.
Oh, wow, I didn't know.
He's the only white guy. That's how badass he is.
If you're thinking of a white person in that show, that's
That's my guy in the group of black people.
He's bad.
I remember this first day that I convinced everyone to get you on, because I'm very good at that. And then it was the day that there was a mexorcism happening on set. That's right. Which was, I think it was Kristen. No, it was Amy Sedaris.
Amy Sedaris is there with her legs up in stirrups, and we're down there with a Lico.
It's like making a light shine out of her legs.
Vagina. There's a Lico with like a Leco light and a mirror on her crotch, and I'm down there, and I'm saying it's my first day, and I'm like, Mexorcism. I'm like, I'm like, Mexican on set. Everyone's like, really? Who? I thought we're all white. Like, is that? And so I'm in Amy Sedaris' crotch and I said, does that mean that no Taco Tuesday? And she's like, who are you? I said, I just work here.
Yeah.
No name given.
Oh, that show was crazy.
Excellent show.
Yeah.
Is that where you met Martin?
Mike and I met on a Can't Believe It's Not Butter commercial. Didn't we?
Oh my God, we did. Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
Right? You didn't work on the Yogi Berra commercial, did you?
No, I didn't work
No.
on the Yogi Berra.
That's
no.
where you and I met. That was the Cowboy Bear Ninja thing, right?
That was awesome.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Yeah, that was a while ago.
That was awesome. And for example, okay, what year was that, John?
I don't know.
2014, 2013?
Yeah, I think so.
12 something? Yeah. But I'm there and I'm like, Yogi Berra is going to come out in a minute. We're pre-lighting. What do you ask Yogi Berra? Like, you have Yogi fucking Berra, So I'm like, man, what am I going to ask Yogi Berra when he comes out? So finally, we're there. We're doing it. We're sitting there. And I go in. I go, oh, Mr. Berra, how are you? He's like, good. He's there. And I said, Mr. Berra, I said, what was Marilyn Monroe like? And he goes,
Enough said.
Because, he kicked it with her because of DiMaggio. Like, she was right there in the, So, also on that day, his hands are destroyed, because he was a catcher. He's Yogi Berra's hands. Mangled. But he was wearing 2 rings, one here, one here. And in the museum, there's a case of all of his rings, right? Like 10, 11 championship rings. But on his hands, he had 1 and 1. And I said, Mr. Berra, which rings are you wearing? And he said, this is my first World Series, and this is my Hall of Fame. And I said, do you mind if I take a picture of your hands? He goes, go ahead. And he went like this, and I took a picture of his hands.
Wow.
Fucking awesome. Cinema gods.
Yeah.
Again, man. Don, when did we meet? Just call him Don now. You can call you Don, like Don Martin,
Don Johnson.
Again, I mean, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to sit with us and thank the cinema gods for allowing this to happen, to having you on.
Orson. Thank you, Orson. Roberto, Pierpaolo, John.
Any notes from the gallery?
AK-47.
You guys killed it.
All right.
Yeah. You want to do the wrap out now?
We're good. All right. Thank you guys for watching Rap Drinks. We'll be back with another distinguished guest at another date. But Martine, it's always a pleasure.
Cheers, and hopefully we can have you back again on the show.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. See ya.
Later, y'all.
Love you guys.
All right, cut.